back to my channel. My name is Melanie, and today I wanted to talk about mostly of the books that I have read last year, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm hoping to read this year. Now let's just get started, and I'm going to show you first what I'm currently reading. So if you are someone who watches my shorts, you know that I'm currently reading Can the Mind Be Quiet? So I like reading more self-help books in the morning just because it helps me kind of already start my day, try to be more mindful. But some days I'm really good on that, some days I'm not. So far the book is not what I was kind of expecting. It's a different scenarios like every chapter, and typically with self-help books, most of them are kind of more like not like a workbook, but you definitely have almost, there's more, I don't want to say instructions either, but more guide. I'm kind of iffy on this one. This one's definitely gonna take me a lot longer, which most self-help books do take me longer. I won't be able to read a ton in a year, but I'm also reading one, you know, maybe 2 chapters, maybe 3 in the morning. But the next book is a part of a series that I really love. So I am currently reading Love and Olives. I am almost done with the book, barely have anything left, and I am loving it. It's part of the series with Love and Gelato. So cute. I'm not someone who's big on romance books. You're gonna see soon the type of books I prefer to read. But I am not a fan of romance books. I find to be very bored, or I don't like how they talk to each other or about the other person. I just get very annoyed, and I'm over it, so I don't like it. I love this book. I've just been taking so long to read it solely because I will be in and out of phases of reading, but this book is so cute. And then the books that I'm reading that I read last year, so my goal last year was 24 books, so it was 2 books a month, which I can read a full book typically when I want to in a week. Like, it's not hard. If I wanted to read 52 books in a year, I could, but I definitely don't, because I will go in and out of phases, so it's harder for me to stay on my goals. So last year's goal was 24 and I have 10. So I wasn't even halfway to my goal yet, which I was really bothered. So these are kind of like my own personal reviews. One of the books is The Sun Is Also a Star. Here's my thing. It switches perspectives a lot, which I read some books that do that. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I'm not gonna stop reading a book if it does it. It's like perspectives of people who were in like a very small part of the book, which I felt like was kind of more irrelevant, but wasn't my favorite thing. And then again, it's how they would think about each other and how they would talk about each other that I did not like, but I could not put it down. So it was like a bad book, but still very good, you know? Like, the author did her job of having a very like captivative like world and story, but it's not my cup of tea. It's not, I don't like romance. I don't like more like teen drama type of books. Like, I don't like that. I did not like the book. To me, it's not a good book, but could I put it down? Absolutely not. So that's my feelings. Now, one of my favorite genres that I definitely will say is more murder, like mystery types, and Agatha Christie dominates it. And The Body in the Library is so good. It's a very small book. I tried to read this a couple times, but again, like having in and out phase is difficult sometimes, but I love this book. It makes you think, like, who could have been? It's so interesting, it's so good. I loved it. And again, it does switch perspectives, but I like the way that she does it, and I think it's just also more of a genre that I prefer. So one book that literally took me a week to finish because it was just so good was Mexican Gothic. I was obsessed with this. I'm so excited to read this. And I was reading this in October, and because I was taking so long to read most books, I thought it would take me longer. No, it took me a week. It was so good. I definitely recommend this. I could not put this down. It's so captivating. I definitely loved this book. So this next book is one that I've already read. It was my 3rd time reading it last year. Pretty sure it was, but this one is Catcher from Kaylin Nicholson, and she's actually a YouTuber. I was already familiar with her. She has a 2nd book supposedly coming out. I liked the way that she wrote it, but also since someone else would call her more of an amateur, but I loved it. I loved the story. So interesting, so captivating, and also like it's very much like, if I would guess, like just like 500 years in the future where people have technology in their brain, but also like I would say it's like a good in-between of like Divergent, you know, like something similar to Divergent, but not. This next book I read it in October just because it felt like perfect, and it was called Nothing But Blackened Teeth. I felt very confused reading it. I felt like I was losing my place a lot, like in the fact of like, I couldn't understand where they were in, like, not the building, but like if they would go into another room, I felt like I wasn't able to understand, like the author didn't describe it well enough to understand that there was other movement going around. So I think if you wanted like a quick read, that's great, but I don't think I'd read this book again. So the next book that I read was You Will Be Mine, and this one was such a good one for closer to getting to Valentine's Day, and I will tell you now, it is not who you expect, and I definitely recommend to read it because I could not put it down. Now again, I am more trying to get a routine of reading self-help books in the morning. And this one, I think I've read it now twice, but it is Get Your Shit Together, Sarah Knight. So very good book. I loved it. What's nice about like this book, I think it's a good one to be able to reread it, and you're gonna pull different information that you didn't pull from like previous times. And I might even reread this one this year. So my battery died, so things look different. The next book that I have here is called The Lost, which I think I read like earlier in the year because I couldn't remember reading it till like I read one of the characters' names. Easy read, but at some point I was starting to get bored, and I could tell I was starting to get bored because I was like kind of pushing it off, or I was already kind of like more interested in one of the other books I have. So still a good book, and I would definitely still recommend it if you like more mystery type. Now this one it kind of goes with one of the books that I'm currently reading, which is Love and Luck. It was so good, and it takes place in Ireland, so very similar to like Love and Gelato. Like it's more of like a family type of issue going on, but there's still like the love interest, but it's not the full thing. And what's actually really cool is that if you read Love and Gelato, the character in here is the best friend to the first book. I still don't know how she is connected to them. I don't know if there's a connection, but I still really recommend it, and it's still a very, very good book. And one of the last books that I read last year, which I was just seeing on TikTok everywhere, was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Again, I was going in and out of phases, so even though it was really good, it still took me like a few months to read it, just solely because I was like, I have a phase of like reading it and then I get bored. All right, so those were all the books that I read last year, and then let's just go over the 15 that I want to read this year. Okay, I have so many John Green books, and this one that I have that I wanted to read, Turtles All the Way Down. So I wanted to read it because again, I remember just like the phase of John Green that everyone was reading all of his books. So next one of Us Is Lying. There's 2 seasons. Oh, it's on Peacock. Okay, I know I'm gonna love this. This is my cup of tea. I love murder and mystery type of books, so I'm really excited to start reading this one soon. This next one is Spells for Lost Things. Because I don't know a lot of it, I didn't even really read it, what it's about, solely because I've read 3 books from this author, and I'm gonna trust the fact that I'm gonna like whatever she comes out with next. So I grabbed this one. Now this one, I haven't seen anyone talk about it yet, but I'm curious and I'm excited, and it is The Twisted Tale. It's kind of like almost like the What If series of Disney movies. What if Belle's mother cursed the beast? I have a couple actually that I wanted to read, and this is one of them because Beauty and the Beast is my favorite story, and Belle is absolutely my favorite princess. So again, with the tales. So this one is What If the Sleeping Beauty Never Woke Up? So the next one here is 14 Ways to Die. I just realized I still have the sticker when I got this at Target, but this is Good Girl, Bad Blood. So this is the sequence to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. 3 books in the series. I already bought the second one. I'm gonna try to read this as soon as possible so I don't forget whatever happened in the first book. So this one is The Perfect Place to Die. So this one actually around the 1890s. So I think that's what got me more interested, just because of the time period. Now, when I saw that this one was gonna have a movie, Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express. Already been on my nightstand, so like the moment I finish Love and Olives, this is my next book. Awake, from the same author as The Lost and The Cellar. So because again, same author, I already trust her and I already like mostly, I think I only disliked like 2 books. So I am excited to read Awake, and then I also have The Fear here. So these are both the books I'm going to be reading here soon. And I think I'm only missing one more book of hers called The Twin. And and The Lake. Do I have these? I think these are 2 books that I'm missing from her. So the next 2 are by the same author, and I actually read her self-help book a while ago, and I think maybe back in 2020, called You Are a Badass. So I also got Badass Habits, and then I also got her You're a Badass and Making Money. I already am familiar with the author, I already like her stuff, so since I already like one of her books, this is very much me trusting the author when they write. So this one is Atomic Habits. So I was actually watching a podcast called Girls Gotta Eat, and they had James Clear on their podcast. I had this book for a while now, and I've heard it's good, but I think actually seeing what he looks like and them talking to him actually would make me like, okay, like now I actually am going to read it. The last book that I have here, Think Again by Adam Grant. Hopefully it's good. So that's the end of the video. Hopefully someone stick around to the very end, and I will hopefully see you guys soon. Bye.